Rehabbing Part 2. In this video, we're going to talk about setting your goals, a very, very important part of being successful in rehabbing. So let me give you some pointers and some ideas of how to set your goals when you're taking on this journey of becoming a rehabber. First of all, understand your big why. I talk a lot about this. This is something that's actually changed my life when I finally figured it out. Look, until about age 40, I was quite successful. I was a doctor, I was practicing, had a family, all those kind of things, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't satisfied. And the reason is because I didn't figure out my why. Why was I doing all this? It took me about 3 years. I was kind of floundering around, doing stuff, not really understanding it. Finally got a life coach, spent about a year with him, and he finally got me to understand my why. I got rid of all the crap in my life, focused on what was important to me, and then things took off. Got to a whole nother level, and I keep going, and I'm happy with everything I'm doing right now because it's connected to my why. It's connected to me on a deep level. So make sure you understand that before you even undertake anything, especially rehabbing. Now look, the goal here with rehabs is to build wealth. That's the ultimate goal of real estate. But understand, money is not going to make you happy. Money cannot buy happiness. It can solve 95% of the things that make you unhappy, but in and of itself, it cannot make you happy. And remember, you're not truly wealthy until you have something that money can't buy. So remember, money is very important. It's a tool. It's like a hammer. With a hammer, I can build a great big house like the one I'm filming in today, but I can also kill somebody with that hammer. So it just depends on how you use it. Money can make you happy. It can make you unhappy. It's just how you use it. So remember, there has to be something above money always. Why are you doing this? Is it to help your kids? Is it to retire your parents? Is it because you want some material things that you never had growing up as a child? There's got to be some deep-seated emotional reason why you're doing this, and that's got to be more important than money itself. One of the great stories I always like to tell is a friend of mine who was a Keller Williams agent in Kentucky. He was basically a C student, a jock growing up, never really did that well, didn't really want to go to college because he just didn't, that wasn't really his scene at all. So he started in real estate at a very young age and eventually became very successful. One of his deep-seated whys is that every year he wanted to throw a big Kentucky Derby party for all of his friends and family. He wanted to be able to show them a good time, have them enjoy, be able to fly them in, put them in great accommodations, have great parties. And this thing cost him $50,000 a year. But this is one of the things that drove him to be very successful in real estate. To him right now, $50,000 isn't that much money, and he can happily do this for others. So remember, part of this journey is what are you going to be doing for others, especially those close to you, your relatives, your parents, your close friends. Are you going to be able to help them, and is this going to help them in some way? Also remember, while the goal of being a rehabber is to build wealth and be able to help yourself and those around you, it's also important, the primary thing here is to deliver a good product. That's what you're really trying to do. You're trying to deliver a house where someone's going to move in, they're going to have a family, they're going to raise a family, they're going to potentially live there for many years, and they're going to be happy. So if you're going to be a good rehabber, don't deliver crappy product. I've seen that so many times. People just want to get it done. They use the cheapest finishes, they cut corners, they don't do things that should really be done, and they're delivering a crappy product. Guess what? Those people might make money on a few projects, but they're always going to be out of this business very soon because they don't understand that it's more important to deliver a good product than it is to even make money. Look, I've actually lost money on some rehabs because I made sure that rehab was done right and we exceeded our budget, but I didn't want to deliver a crappy product. It doesn't happen very often, and I tend to make money on almost all my projects, but occasionally it will happen. But I still value delivering a good product over making money, even though the business goal here is to make money. To me, the holy grail of life is to be able to have time freedom and location freedom. Basically, you want to be able to do what you want, when you want, with who you want. That's really the ultimate goal of life. Of course, it's great to have a bunch of money, but if you have no time to enjoy it, that doesn't make sense. If you have a bunch of time but no money to enjoy it, that doesn't make sense either. You kind of want this holy grail of all three things where you can do what you want, when you want, with who you want. And that's what I've been able to accomplish. I've been living this lifestyle for the last 12 years, and it's phenomenal. The money's great, and the possessions and all those things are great, but it's really just having this freedom to do what I want, when I want, with who I want. One of the big drivers for me has always been my kids. I do everything I do for them. When they were young, I was working in the emergency room. And as an emergency room doctor, you only work 15 days every month, so you have 15 days off. But guess what? Those days you're working nights, you're working evenings, you're working weekends. So I would start a shift at 4 p.m., end at 2 p.m. My kids would be coming home when I was leaving. They would never see me. They were wondering where I was at, even though I didn't technically work that much. It was not a great lifestyle. Every weekend when they were having their soccer games and things like that, I was working in the emergency room. I missed so many things. I said, this is not the way to live life. I want to be able to do what I want, when I want, with who I want, specifically my family and my kids. That's one of my major drivers and my why. It connects to me on an emotional level, and that's the reason why I feel I've been successful, because I understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. So make sure you set these goals. And the last thing I'll leave you with goal setting is the two types of specific goals I'm going to ask you to set here before you go forward. Number one is your long-term vision. This is, okay, where do you want to be 5, 10, 15 years down the road? You kind of set that, and that doesn't really change much. So do you want to flip 100 houses a year? Do you want to have $10 million in the bank account? Whatever those goals are, set those and kind of leave them out there and always be working towards them. The other group of goals I want you to set are what I call quarterly goals, 90-day goals. What are you going to do in the next 90 days to accomplish that long-term vision? And that's all I want you to do. I want you to take some time after this video is done to sit down and really write out, what are my long-term goals? Write them out as clearly as you can. And then what am I going to do in the next 90 days to accomplish those goals? Don't worry about 1-year goals, 5-year goals, all that kind of stuff. It gets too complicated. Goal setting should not be complicated. It should be something you do relatively easily, and then you go put the hard work into accomplishing those goals. And there's something about 90-day goals that's magical. I don't know what it is. 30 days is too short to really accomplish stuff and not enough time to really see a change. And yet you don't want to wait 6 months or a year before you really look for that change. 90 days is a perfect time where you can see results. And if you're not getting results, make a course correction. That way you're not wasting a lot of time doing things that aren't working. So that's all I want you to do, is set those quarterly goals. What are you going to do this quarter to achieve those long-term goals? And then set those long-term goals, of course, and those really shouldn't change much. So that's the basics of goal setting. This can apply to rehabbing, to anything you want to do in your life. So make sure you get your brain straight. Check out my free 45-part series on getting your brain straight, and then start setting your goals right now. As always, hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of the videos in this important 10-part series on rehabbing.